Okay, thank you. So now I would like to welcome our guest speaker, Joe Paul, and let me just give you a little introduction. Um, he has had numerous leadership roles. He was on the Stafford Foundation, and he's part of District of Columbia government, a leader, a graduate of Florida State. Joe Paul, you speak 4 or 5 languages. 5, okay. He speaks 5. I got Spanish, Russian, English, Haitian, Creole, and what's the other one?
Spanish, French, Russian.
French, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Spanish, French, Russian, Haitian Creole, and I'm still working on English, so I'm almost
Listen to you. Okay. He's a president of the Seminole Club in Washington, D.C. And, just looking at your high school, and thanks for sharing about your, when you were in high school, but your college years at Florida State, you were a leader back then too. So anyway, and really involved with your fraternity. I give you the 29th Executive Director of Alpha Phi Alpha, Joe Paul.
Thank you so much, Gloria. I'm excited to be here, and I'm honored by the invitation. I really am. I'm excited to get a conversation going on how you can increase your members, how you can increase diversity amongst your membership. And I'm hoping that at the end of this conversation, I'll be able to provide some insight, some solutions, and some strategies that can help you do just that. So you're in luck. You picked the best person to speak to. So, and I'm very modest, obviously. So no, I'm ready to get started and get our conversation started. I am from Florida. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, raised in Miami, and I attended Florida State University. I went to Arcola Lakes Elementary, Little River Elementary, then Horace Mann Middle School, and then Miami Central. Actually, with a stop in, I went to I was a part of the first class for the medical magnet at University of Miami. That was a feeder for Northwestern, the medical magnet. However, I wanted, after my first semester at Northwestern, I wanted to follow in the footsteps of my brothers and sisters and graduate from Central for whatever reason. I could have been a doctor, I don't know. Not that I didn't turn out all right, right? So I went to Central, and I never looked back. I mean, it was just an amazing experience. And the interesting thing about going to Central is, majority of the attendees of Central are Black and brown, and about over 90%. And so and back when I graduated, most kids weren't really going to college. That wasn't necessarily a thing. Like, people weren't really going to college and choosing college as a path. So I remember going to my counselor, my guidance counselor, and I said, hey, look, there are a lot of people looking at colleges, et cetera, and I'm thinking about college as well. My family's never done it, but I'd like to try it out. And he said, well, look, college isn't for everyone, is what he shared with me. And I said, well, what are the other options? He said, well, you can join the military, or you can learn a trade, or one of those things. I said, well, those are noble paths, but I want to figure out what this college thing is about. So I went and applied to about 13 different schools, and a lot of them said maybe some other time, but Florida State said yes. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to take this opportunity and get to Florida State and do my best to really to uphold this, this opportunity. And I just I thought it was so great that they gave me a chance. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to turn this opportunity into gold. And while at Florida State, I mean, I was involved in everything. I was a homecoming king at Florida State. I was student body vice president. I was a student senator. I was the first African American big man on campus in about 100 years. I was, you name it, anything. I've been in FSU's Hall of Fame. Whatever you could do, I did at Florida State. I studied abroad in Russia, and I studied in Spain. Anything you can do on campus, I tried to do. I didn't know any better, right? This was my first experience. So had I known, I would have just spent most of it in class. But not, but I loved my experience, and it made me who I am. And at that moment, I joined my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, the greatest fraternity in the world. And that was in 1998. And then my path started on through my nonprofit journey. I served at every role in human resources. from the human resource receptionist all the way to the human resource officer for the government. My most recent role was the chief operating officer for the Stafford Foundation. And my skill throughout the years came out by finding strategies that help in turnaround settings, like going in and figuring out, okay, here are the pieces that are missing, here are the pieces that should be placed, et cetera, and looking at it from 10,000 feet. And it's like putting a puzzle together, and I get excited by that kind of stuff. And so 20 years working hard, my fraternity had an opportunity for me to serve as the 29th executive director in our 114-year history. And so no one understands history better than the Rotary Club, right? And so the first person was in 1909, Brother Booker, and I'm the 29th in history. So it's a big deal to me, and I take my job very seriously. And I feel like I was uniquely positioned to be in this position to help my fraternity, to new heights, so we can be around for another 115 years. And so I applaud the Rotary Club for inviting me into this space to share some information on how we all can grow, because we're really all in this together. And so that's one of the things I've realized throughout my whole career. I mean, the more people you involve at the table, the better it is, So I'm hopeful I can share some really good information and strategies, which I think I will. That's going to help take this club at least, and we can scale up some of these strategies so the entire Rotary Club can use them. So everyone can understand that our strength is truly in our diversity. Diversity in age, diversity in color, diversity in ideas, diversity in thought, diversity in race. That's where our strength comes from, our diversity. And so the more we include each other, the less we have yes women and yes men, right? The more we include each other, the more we can hear information from other people who have different and special and unique experiences, who can absolutely add value to most conversations. And so I applaud you all, because this is a huge step, and you watch how everything you do will just explode. I mean, you'll see, the more people you include, the better it is, right? The only way that doesn't work is when you're making spaghetti, right? Everybody's throwing, hey, I want this, I want that. Hey, look, there's one right way to make spaghetti, right? And the way my grandma makes it. So, all right, so let's get started. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Okay, unmute. All right. So let me just ask you a couple questions. Like, what do you see what the Rotary E-Club can do to communicate and to help promote? Let's just take your fraternity, for example, and then we'll build it up. But what can we do to recruit your members? Now, something nice about Rotary is that, as Dr. O had said, there's like 34,500 clubs and 205 countries. That's something that could be useful, especially if they're on their professional path, because if they travel internationally, they could visit clubs. You see, we have a guest here today with us. The world is getting smaller and smaller with the internet. So what do you think we could do? What could Florida E-Club offer to Alpha Phi Alpha to get them to be interested in our organization?
Yeah, great question. A few things. I think the first thing to do is figure out who resonates with your mission and vision, right? Where is that audience? Where does that audience live? Does their mission and vision match your mission and vision? Do they have a demonstrated history of giving back to the causes that you support? That's the first line of defense. That's the first thing, because that brings us from here to here. Right now, on the other side, I think the most important thing, if you're trying to join forces with another organization, it's important to present how the WIFM, right? Everybody knows what WIFM is. What's in it for me, right? We should be able to answer that for folks. Like, what's in it for me? Like, why should I do this? And advocacy and support is different for most people, right? It looks differently, and so you want to give like a multi-pronged approach to how people can support. It may not be attending every meeting. It may be giving their time in a different way. It may be giving their treasure towards the causes that you have. It may be giving their talent by creating a curriculum or working on brochures or whatever the case might be, or calling people if they're good on the phones. So it's really figuring out a way that you can engage another group by giving them a diverse option of engagement, of opportunities of engagement. So with us, with our fraternity particularly, we're hyper focused on service, giving back to the community, advocacy. That's just, it's part of our brand, it's part of who we are. And so as we look to partner with organizations, we look to see if those two things are in mind. Do they have a history of giving back to communities that have been, and that have a that have been historically marginalized, right? Do they have a history of helping people? Do they have a history of serving and being advocates on behalf of the people who don't have a voice, right? And so our national programs speak to that. And so when we're looking for partnerships, we look at folks and organizations who have a history of speaking to those points. Most recently, we set up an MOU with the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, and they are going to be helping us show our members how to build wealth through real estate, right? And it's important to me that our members make money, because if they make money, they can pay dues, right? Everybody wins. Right. So, so my goal is to make sure that I educate my members so that they know that, here's how you grow, here's how you create wealth, et cetera. So when we're setting up MOUs with other organizations, the goal is to see who can help us serve our members better. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. It does. Great. So we do offer a lot of services. And like I said, the brochure that we sent you and Dr. O had mentioned some, but we also, one of the things that might be of interest is that we are helping to donate to in Haiti, we have I guess it's not a foster home. What's it called? Oh, a doctor was on the phone. But we have an orphanage that we're helping to fund. And so they need money. There's a lot of turmoil that was going down there, and so that might be something that might be of interest, for your fraternity. And in addition to that, I don't know how, well, I guess you're familiar with Orlando too, but, we've taken on some initiatives with some other nonprofits that are target, towards, mostly the African-American community. But, just to name a few, but we're worldwide, there's all kinds of different initiatives. And then even if there's something that you want to partner with, we'll be more than happy to pursue that. So what do you believe are the steps for us to engage your, your members to become a member, in addition to letting them know about all the services, but especially I want to focus too on the professional value that this organization provides. I know a lot of folks that, they like to see that on their resume, and especially like if we could have our youth. I mean, the average age I think is in the 60s for Rotary now, and of course, white male, but I'm part of, and there's a lot of others that wants to change that to diversify. So with all that said, then, what do you think would be the first steps if we partnered to be able to, obtain, your members to be interested? And not only that, but also the alumni, because I'm wondering how many alumni are members of Rotary, and then how many want to be members of Rotary? How do we reach them?
Well, yeah, there's several ways. I mean, one of the ways is to meet them where they are, right? Meet us where we are. So make the proposition like, hey, Alphas, here's what we're bringing to the table. We will expose you to this and this and that. We believe in the same mission because we do this and this and that. That's one of the ways. The other way is to create organic growth by meeting this demographic where they are. So utilizing tools like social media, utilizing tools like email marketing, making sure that you can connect with folks where they are. It's important to bring the message to people, and making sure that you make it as easy as possible for them to share it. So if you created these email templates that we can send to our membership, I mean, this is a good strategy. just an email template. Hey, the Rotary is looking for new members. Here are the benefits, X, Y, Z, do this, do that. And then for more information, reach out to our Rotary partners at this. So, you know, that's one way. And the other way is to have a unified goal. What are we going against? What's the metric? Are we trying to save 1,000 lives? Are we trying to feed 1 million mouths? You know, what are we trying to figure out? What does that look like? The third thing is to create a set of, you know, everybody likes recognition. Everybody likes attaboys. Everybody likes pats on the back. And if you created a Rotary Club 30 under 30, you know, or 40 under 40 award where you're honoring 30 civil servants, advocates, et cetera, 30 folks who are under the age of 30 and then 40 who are under the age of 40. Right there, you have 70 new members, right? Because in order for them to receive the award, they have to be members of the Rotary Club.
Right?
So
Right.
that one's free.
Yes.
So,
Very
right?
good.
So, so there are tons of ways to do it. I think if you had a plan of action, this is definitely the one I would take. That would just automatically explode the membership. You have to give people a reason to join, right? And so. And you also don't want to restrict the 30 and the 30 or 40 and 40 on the national level. You know, every chapter should be doing that same thing, because if every chapter did that, that's 70 new members every year, right? I mean,
Right.
You know, you create critical mass that way. You know, in 5 years, that's 300 to 500 people, you know, and more. So I think it's that's the strategy I would use, and it definitely will work. So does that help?
No, absolutely. And something else, just to let you know, like the E-Club of Florida, our whole purpose, we don't want it just to be for the E-Club of Florida. We want it to benefit all Rotary organizations.
Good.
So, you know, your members, let's just take Florida State, for example. They may be going to school there, but they may live in California, or they may live, you know, somewhere around the United States. But you know what? They could always join their local club when they're ready.
Absolutely.
But if they're traveling and it's more convenient for them to be a member of E-Club, then, you know, then this could be their home. But that's our goal too, is like, especially folks that travel, you know, maybe one day, you know, it stops or whatever, and then we can hook them up with the club. Dr. O, did you want to add anything to anything, or anybody want to add anything to what I've said so far?
Or any questions?
Yeah, we could take questions now.
Unfortunately, my internet went down, so I missed the last few minutes.
It was absolutely amazing. You missed some brilliant responses, and
I wrote them down. I have them down.
And we're recording, so we're in luck. No worries.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question about, besides dues your members pay, what do you have a way of fundraising, or what other income do you have to stay afloat?
Great question. There are partnerships, and we also have foundations that we have set up, and so we have different arms of generating revenue. We have several investments, et cetera, that we also use. But the dues is the interesting one, because obviously that's the biggest one. And so the strategy depends on where you want the influx to be, right? Do you want it over time, or do you want it up front, right? And so it depends on what you want. If you want a lot up front, then it has to be heavily on recruitment. It has to be done on getting new members in, new members in, new members in, new members in. If you want it over time, then it has to be heavily on retainment, right? Making sure that the folks who are already on the rolls, who already buy into Rotary Club because they were part of the membership at one point, they're low-hanging fruit. They don't have to be convinced as much as you would a new member, right? And so they already know, they've already bought in. All they need to do is be invited back to pay those dues, because hey, look, you don't have to come to the meetings, but we would appreciate your treasure, because we know exactly what to do with it, and trust us, we've been doing it for a long time. So, and we've been doing it well. And so you don't have to be there. The way you can give back is through your treasure. Your time may be limited, but your treasure is absolutely wanted. You know, we have some capable people who can do some things with your treasure and with our guidance. And so So that's one of the ways that I would use the members as a revenue generator, because they're out there, right? There are people who have been members of the Rotary Club. There is a database that you have that is underused, right? And so we have to. I would also partner with an organization that provides this type of service, like data analytics, and to help you tell a good story of your data, because they can tell you who's more likely to stick around, who will pay their dues. They can tell you everything. They can tell you where the hot spots are, where people are more likely to pay dues or join, they can tell you everything. And so I definitely recommend doing that, because your data, you have, 100 years plus of it. It can tell you a lot of stories that some other things can't tell you. So I would definitely start there. But yeah, it depends on where you want the revenue. If you want it all up front, then it has to be on recruiting and getting new members and repainting a nice picture. And you're selling a car, right? You're selling a brand new car, and it's the same car, right? You're a factory. All you make are Ford Mustangs, right? The same beautiful Mustang. You're selling it to everyone, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes you have to change the color to get more people interested, right? Sometimes you have to add different kinds of wheels to get other people interested. Sometimes you have to have 4 doors instead of 2 doors, right? And so the idea is, as you build and you grow this, you grow the membership, you have to add features that attract people of all kinds. So is that helpful?
Did you say your foundation is also a resource for income?
Oh, sure, absolutely. When you have different classifications, and the foundations are 501c3s, there are certain limitations, but you can receive donations through that arm. You can receive, grants through that arm. There are ways to generate revenue through those arms.
Right. So now, thank you. So now with this pandemic, we have different ways of thinking. A lot of folks are doing things remotely, like we're doing right now, using Zoom. And I think from some of the organizations I belong to, this is going to be a new way of doing business. So just wanted to mention that, yes, the dues and everything like that are nice. However, we need warm bodies that will help us with, doing the mutual service, maybe that we two agree, we agree to work on. In addition to that, there's some things that can be done remotely. Sky's really the limit, and especially to get, I've always said this, but like the youth to open up their minds and to explore, and then to share with us other ways of fundraising instead of the old-fashioned, I shouldn't say old-fashioned, but the ways that have always been done to raise money. I'm sure there's going to be a whole slew of different ways of doing it. Yeah.
This is a
win-win for both of us.
For sure, it's a new way of communicating, and it's an effective way, because imagine getting all of us in the same room at the same time. Some of us stuck in traffic, and someone's calling, and this and that, my car this, and you know how much stress it would be to get to this meeting, right? And how much it would be a lot of stress for all of us. But we have very low stress. We're all over different parts of the world, but we're in the same room, and there's power in that. And I think the organizations who actually use these mediums to communicate with people in the interim, because COVID-19 is passing through, right? It won't be here forever. But while it's here, we have to do what we need to do to make sure that we communicate and touch bases. And as it relates to the warm bodies, definitely that's going to happen. But I believe you put your money where your mouth is, and you put your body where your money is, right? So that second part I just made up. So yeah, you put your money where your mouth is, but you put your body where your money is, right? And so if people are paying dues, they're telling you that they support you, with their pocket, but they're also not going to just let it, they're not going to just leave it there, right? They're going to get involved, and so they have to. They have money invested, right? If that makes any sense. So so the goal is to get them to pay their dues. Then you can get them to do things by creating some absolutely some wow goals and pursuing them, by creating some events that everybody can get around, some issues that everybody can get around. So those are the things that you definitely want to create, because then you get the bodies, right? If you have a multi-pronged approach to creating groups, you can attract the people who want the convertible, the people who want 4 doors, the people who want SUVs, right? And I'm using this car analogy because that's the best language I can speak.
That's good analogy. No,
you know what I mean? But you can attract them. If you're just selling a black Mustang, that's all you're gonna get are people who are interested in a black Mustang, and that's not a big group, right? So, so as you expand it, you expose yourself to more people who are interested. So, is that helpful?
No, very helpful.
Good.
Does anyone else have any questions? I have one last question. Well, really not a question, but you know, just a comment. Anyone else?
I don't actually, it's not really a question, but on the topic, you know, most of the members, well, pretty much all the members in my club were invited by other members to join. And that's probably always going to be the best way to get members, is for members to be members. But there's also up on my Rotary in the Learning Center, there are a number of different sessions on building membership, the process to go about how to diversify your membership. It's an excellent, excellent resource. But if you go on the Learning Center and it says something's going to take an hour, it doesn't really take an hour. So don't let the time scare you off. But the resources in the Learning Center on everything in Rotary are amazing. Oh, and I would like to say, I've done, in my other Rotary Club, did lots of projects with the Alphas here in St. Croix.
Oh, that's awesome.
Group of great guys they are.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's nice.
That's great to hear. That's the sentiment shared all around the world.
Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Liz. Yeah.
That's really powerful work. That's really powerful work that they're doing, especially the Learning Center, which is a benefit that you can share with professionals, right? When you're thinking about partnering with organizations, you want to push all the benefits of being a Rotary member. Hey, guess what? We have a state-of-the-art learning center that you won't find this material anywhere else, right? We also have exclusive access.
The amount of information up there is awesome. You know, it really is such an incredible resource for Rotarians.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, if I wasn't before, I'll make a promise that I'm going to become a member.
Oh, that was one of the items I was going to ask. If
really, yeah, and it's good to ask on the air, because you know it's hard for people to say no when they're, you know.
That's also a great resource. Guest speakers are great.
Yes.
To tap into for membership.
Joe.
Awesome. Yes.
Do you have any in chapters in Haiti or not?
We don't have any chapters in Haiti, but we have plenty of brothers who take mission trips to Haiti, are part of organizations that are on the ground in Haiti. I'm actually Haitian American. I mean, I was born in Brooklyn, New York, but my mother and father were born in Haiti, and their father, et cetera. And before they took the cruise from Africa, you know, they were all in from Haiti. So, so I have a, you know, soft spot in my heart for Haiti, and so know that we don't have a chapter yet, but we do a lot of work on the ground in supporting Haiti. So absolutely, that's one of the things that perked my attention when Gloria shared that information, and I was like, oh wow, that's pretty great, because that's something that's near and dear to my heart, and yeah, so we don't have a chapter yet, but we absolutely have brothers who are there doing the good work.
And we have clubs, we have a number of clubs there.
Wow.
Odette, our member, is from Haiti, and 3 days after the hurricane hit, she was on ground there providing medical care. And she has since then gone once to twice a year with medical personnel volunteering to go down there and provide help to the remote areas.
She's doing God's work.
And then she set up the orphanage when she was on one of those trips. Wow. And actually saved the lives of 21 children who were destitute. And so if you have any medical personnel that would like to join her in those trips, that would be interested, that would be wonderful.
Please send me the information. Any way I can help. I mean, look, at the end of this call, I'll be a member, so I have to lean on another member, and you have to lean on the other members. So, so whatever I can do to support you, absolutely. Please let me know.
Joe, I was in Haiti be 2 years ago, just last month.
Wow.
Haiti is part of our Rotary district. So our district conference was there. Amazing, amazing place. The people there are incredible.
Absolutely.
A Rotary project, which I believe that Alphas would be definitely interested in, is called the Hand Wash Project.
Oh.
It's a project that was started by our district, District 7020, and the goal is by the year 2030 to provide clean water to the entire population of Haiti. It is an awesome, awesome project. It started a few years ago. As I said, it's the goal is to complete it by 2030. Very ambitious goal. And you can look it up, or we can get you the information. It's definitely something that the Alphas could be interested in and help out with.
Well, I will say absolutely, count us in. This is something that's one of the ways that we can start and kickstart this relationship. Absolutely. I mean, that's something that is not only necessary, obviously, in Haiti, but everywhere, right? There's so many places, and if we can create a partnership here and grow it and scale it up, we can show other people how it's done. And here's how two organizations come together to solve a common goal. So absolutely count us in. That's if you don't mind sending me the information, I'll make sure that we review it and and get back as soon as possible. But yes, that sounds amazing.
Liz, I'll send you his email, and then if you could also send it to Dr. O and myself, and then we'll share it with everyone. That would be wonderful.
Okay. And the idea with this project is, Haiti is the first place, and as that works, to take it around the world. So that's what makes it so awe-inspiring, that Rotary and our partners can help, hopefully within the near future, provide clean water to the world.
Nice.
Amazing.
I work with a program called Oil for Water, and we have a gentleman called George Lewis, and he does paintings, oil paintings, and he used to just paint landscapes. And then I asked him to paint a painting for me, and I happen to have it hanging in my living room. And it was a house that a 50-year Rotarian lived in and was a doctor in that home. And I had him paint it, and you pay him for the paint, or pay to the charity Oil for Water, and it's oil paintings that provide water. And you can give it to any water program in the world, whether it's the wash program, the hand wash program, or in the case of some of the ones we've had $400,000 wells put down in Guatemala and Africa and places like this to provide clean water and sanitation, toilets. So this is one way we raise money on the internet, is I send out his paintings, his links and his pictures, and people order paintings from him. So now he's doing dogs, your favorite pet, your favorite cat, and that money goes towards it. Wow. So this is all online. There's no in person. And I surprised him with a book called Oil for Water, with the story of the wells that he's provided, the children he's saved, and his paintings. So it's like a catalog as well as a documentary on saving lives through water in Rotary. So that's another way that we've tried to do that, is we could get, anybody interested in the world, doesn't have to be a Rotarian, can buy his paintings. And then he has allowed some of the money to go to other causes like shoes and things like this, specific Alzheimer's, the CART program. But his main goal is water.
Wow.
Thank you. So you see, we have a lot of fundraisers and a lot of different ways of obtaining that. And sounds like we already are starting up a partnership. But I would just want to mention one last thing, is that as far as leadership opportunities, if you have members, that want to join, that's good. But there's also we have leadership opportunities. If they want to serve on a committee and then they could serve on the board, you know, that would be great experience for them. You know.
Well, let me tell you, our organization develops leaders, right? That's part of what we do. It's part of our mission.
That's our
And
future.
so, believe me, we're not just going to join to be members. Our
Right.
brothers are going to be leaders. So,
Oh, there you go.
going to
I
be on the
love to
board.
hear that.
Oh
Music
yeah,
to my ears.
I mean, look, we take care of business. So,
Right,
you know,
right.
yeah, we're going to
Excellent.
join.
No,
to
but
actually be
just
leaders.
know that's available and something that
That's
they
awesome.
can use. Yeah. So just to
amazing.
share that with you. So if
That's
there
excellent.
are no other questions, this part of the meeting, we want to really thank you. You've given us a lot of information and a lot of insight and making it a win-win. You know, I appreciate it. Like we said, it's being recorded and that we will post it on various social medias, and I'll let you know. And so as far as action items right now, I have Liz, if you could send the information on hand washing to our Rotary Club, and then we'll forward it to Joe Paul. And then also Dr. O, if you could send information on the Haiti orphanage and any other opportunities that you're aware of, if you could send that to Joe Paul and just CC the Google group so we'll know that you had sent that. And I don't know if I missed any other action items there, but yeah, I appreciate everybody being on the call, and if the members could just stay on for a short while, and you're free to go or you're free to stay, you know, to listen to the rest of the meeting.
No, I call people like you my personal heroes, because when I love to end meetings a little early and give people some of their day. So you're my personal hero for giving me this.
Okay.
Right, but I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you for this opportunity, Gloria. We know each other for a while. If you ever need anything,
You know,
I have my back. Thank you, everyone. Seriously, I
Sign
hope I've
language
added
for
value.
applause.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
There it is.
Right, and I'm going to
Appreciate it.
send you the information to sign up to be a member, Joe Paul, and you can
Please do.
any of us at any times. Dr. O was really like the expert, but you know, call any of us anytime. Okay, all right. We'll
Absolutely,
see you.
I certainly will.
Okay,
Take
thank
care,
you.
everyone.
All
My
right.
pleasure.